Josh.
Hello. Hi, Julia.
Hello. For everybody's benefit, Josh is our 2D artist and animator, and I am Julia. I'm the community manager at Mindpiece Games, and we wanted to give you all a little prize for guessing the mystery object, which was in fact a shrink ray, which you're going to be able to buy on the shop floor when that shop floor is in the game. And I thought it would be nice as a community prize to chat to Josh about how he came up with the shrink ray and a bit about the process of the art that created it. So, Josh, could you tell us a bit about how you started creating it?
So, when I started making the shrink ray, uh, I was taking influence from the kind of a retro future, like the sort of 1960s, 1970s view of the future. And well, actually, before that, actually, I was actually drawing just a bunch of ideas actually before we get to the 1960s future thing. I was drawing, if I can show you quickly,
Yeah, please
I'll
do.
share my screen. Yeah, not with that button. I'll share my screen. I'll show off some of the first few concept sketches that I put to the team.
Great.
And what I wound up doing was, so at first we had the sort of the brief of drawing a a shrink ray, um, but I didn't want to just limit the shrink ray to being a gun. And there was someone on the team who said, okay, maybe we just don't want it to be a gun. Maybe it can be like a something else. And I had to figure out what that something else was. I just think that was a lot of fun. So I drew like various items, like a bomb-like device or a kind of a handheld button controller thing. And I'll just share that with you now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And once I put it to the team, because this is more of a team effort, I put a bunch of ideas. I share a bunch of ideas with everybody on the Slack, and people might think, "Oh, I like number five," or "I like number two," or whatever. Um, and so with
Yeah.
here,
Oh, great.
here's all the various bits that I drew,
Uh huh.
and I was thinking, okay, so it's not going to be a gun, but it could be a shrink bomb or a grenade or I had one idea for a smallerizer, whatever that means.
I like it. A smaller riser.
Um, so yeah, so these first few in the top row take the image of like a kind of a bomb grenade type thing. The second row is like a zapper or a kind of device or like a spear type object. I'm not sure how that would work, but it's kind of in keeping with the theme of the game,
Yeah.
with the throwing objects.
Uh huh.
And the last row, I've got like a shrink solution that you throw and the liquid just makes the thing small, similar to like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
She had
yeah.
the little uh, potion that shrinks her or
Yeah.
makes her larger. So
Drink me.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking with that. Um,
That's great.
but yeah, when I put this to the team, everybody thought that five was pretty good, and I decided to progress on with that. And going forward, I developed the ideas further. If I
I think it's worth
put the
saying as
next
well.
one,
We there was a strong sense in the team of not having something that was like a gun, because we don't really want to encourage having weapons. That's not really in
yeah,
keeping with the game and sort of the mood of the game and the company really. So a zapper seemed like a good alternative to a gun.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
Uh,
you went with number
so then
five.
going, yeah, yeah, pretty much everyone was quite excited for number five
Yeah.
and number seven or six. But what we ended up doing, what I end up doing from here is I take these rough sketches and I develop the ideas further. So um, when I was looking to develop these ideas more, I was looking at a 1960s, 1970s view of the future, like a retro future
Hmm.
kind of look to the objects. And I used a very handy tool called PureRef to put all my reference images.
Ah,
I can show
okay.
you briefly.
What's it called?
PureRef.
Pure Ref.
It's it's so cool. You can put all your reference images in there,
Ah.
and you don't have to have dozens of folders. Even though I still do, but PureRef is very handy.
Yeah. It's almost like
So I
a little notice board, a pin board with can pin things.
Yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
cool.
So this is where I was looking at. So I was looking at the sort of 1960s view of the future,
Uh-huh.
and I had stuff like um, artwork from artists like Sid Mead, who he's done a lot of concept work uh, in films.
Hmm.
So his like his artwork is very yeah, it's very much in keeping with what the vision of the future looked like
Hmm.
back in his day, back in the 1960s and 70s.
Hmm.
Um, and I did looked at a lot of his stuff. I looked at the Jetsons, which
Mm.
one one characteristic of their artwork and the backgrounds and the things they made is that there is a lot of rings in a lot of their items.
Yeah,
Um, I wish I could zoom in more, but it's not letting me, which is a bit of a
that's
shame.
okay.
Look at this.
But I can
Okay,
see that it's sort of the
but
buildings all have rings around them, don't they?
yeah,
Mm.
uh, and there was other stuff like Captain Scarlet and all these old
Yeah,
programs.
yeah.
Um, and I tried to incorporate some of that shrink, into the shrink ray,
Hmm.
which just makes it look more fun and and more
Yeah,
playful, which is what
yeah,
I was aiming for.
yeah. Great. So then, what was the next step?
Yeah, the next step, because you can't spend all day gawking at images. You have to actually draw the thing. And you just look at pictures and yeah, job done.
Yeah. If only.
Yeah, moved on to drawing all uh, shrink ray to kind of making it look more, because with the sketch, it is a sketch. The details are very minimal. So
Mm.
uh, going forward, when I develop the idea more, I just clean up the drawings and define the shapes so that we know that, okay, this thing is definitely a ring or there is definitely a button here.
Hmm.
So going forward, that's what I did. And I had developed this kind of stuff, which
Mm.
uh, again, still kept the rings for
Yep.
for the shrink ray. I had an idea about the giant bubble that would light up in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but this is where I kind of took the shrink ray.
Yeah. And there was also the charge, like you had different ideas for how many zaps
Yeah,
it had left
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, that's what these concepts are here as well to display. How do players know how much charge they have? Um,
Hmm.
can we display this with color? Maybe it might not work so well. Maybe we can um, make it uh, use UI on the game to display the number rather than show on the device. I think we're leaning towards doing both, but yeah, this is kind of where I took the idea for the
Yeah.
string ray.
And then you played around with colours as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And yeah, my role with playing with colors was just the first part. So the idea with the picking the colors, because picking colors is not easy. Yeah, I don't have a great time with it,
Yeah.
but selecting the colors was more to I had to make sure that the color of the object doesn't blend in with the background too much.
Hmm.
Because if you have an item that that players are supposed to interact with, and they don't know they're supposed to interact with it, then it can be, you know, bad design. So
Yeah.
uh, the colors I chose were leaning towards being more playful.
Hmm.
I can show a couple of them.
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
great. But yeah, the idea is you want to attract the player to that object, don't you? And think, oh, this looks
yeah,
fun.
exactly.
I want to see if I can do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the that's the ultimate goal. So
Yeah.
if I show you very briefly, because that's the thing about with game development, and I think this is with a lot of development in anything creative. The first thing you draw is never final, and sometimes what viewers or players see uh, is part of a long process, and
Mm.
no one ever sees the long process.
Yeah. Aha.
That's
Yes.
the
Here we
correct
go.
one. And of course, I number them so they're easier to reference because someone on the team might say, "Oh, I like number three,"
Yeah.
or "Hey, let's merge number six with number five," or whatever. So they're
Mhm.
easier to reference when the team are talking about the
Yeah.
images.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is what I went with,
Mm.
and I tried to limit myself because you could just go all over the place with every color
Yeah.
imaginable. But
Yeah.
yeah, I tried to limit it to using images sorry, using colors that are in line with, objects that players will interact with, or
Mm.
make sure the colors stand out from the background. If they blend in too much, people might not
Mm.
know that, oh, I'm supposed to play with this thing. So
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. And then the next step is to then give this to Caitlin, who's our 3D artist and animator. And she then made a 3D model of the shrink ray. I think she made it in grey first, didn't she? And then she also experimented with some different colours.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with just the 2D object, sorry, 2D sketch or drawing.
Mm.
That's like the first part of experimenting with ideas. Or if Caitlin is particularly busy with one task, I can just quickly sketch out something
Mm.
like so, like I've done here.
Mm-hmm.
And the uh, what Caitlin's role is that she can actually put these objects in game, and we can kind
Mm-hmm.
of get a taste of what the thing would look like in game.
Yeah.
And that's where we really get a lot of I guess good information about what the thing will look like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And if the size works and if the colour works. Um,
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I know she tried a few colours as well, and I think we've decided, haven't we, on the final colours? Sort of a blue and yellow, I think.
Was it blue and yellow? I think it
Or
was.
I
Or
feel
was
like
it
there's
purple?
definitely
Was
some
it number eight?
blue.
Take your word for it, because I can't remember right now.
From what I remember. But anyway, you will all see when it becomes a reality in the game. You'll all see the shrink ray and the beautiful colours. There's whatever those colours are. Um, yeah, so that's, I guess, the next step. Caitlin's made the model, and then it just has to be put in the game. So then it gets handed over to our programming team, Joe and Rupert, and they program it so that it actually appears and also
Yes,
works.
yes, very vital.
Yeah, and Shaz then will design, where it's going to be, when it's going to be available, how people are going to interact with it, as
Yeah,
because he does all the design for the different levels. And I guess this won't be a level, but it will appear in the levels eventually. So
yeah,
yeah, so that's the process, and then you all will be able to have a play with it and shrink some stuff.
yes. Yes, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Especially when you hand the game over to players and they start tinkering with the game in ways that you didn't think they would, or they'll consider things that you hadn't considered.
Hmm.
Um, they might ask, "Oh, can I shrink myself, or can I shrink this other thing?" And you might think, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't, I didn't think they would do that. Can
Yeah.
they?"
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be really nice to see what people do with it. Yeah,
Mm,
great.
yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Josh, for telling us about your creative process.
Yes, that was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here, have a chat with you, talk about art and
Yeah.
stuff, game
Art and
development.
stuff, indeed. All right. So thank you all, and you will see the shrink ray in the game hopefully very soon.